If you can't answer this one question about your relationship, there is no amount of research, understanding, podcast listening, video watching, or therapy that can help save it. I spent just under a decade doing all of those things that I just listed off and more, trying to figure out why my relationship just could not be any easier no matter how much I tried. So here's the question that you need to be able to answer. Are you in a relationship with a healthy person? So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the non-negotiable characteristics that every healthy person has and every healthy relationship has. And if when I asked you that question, you started getting a little tense and a little defensive and you immediately wanted to stand up and say, oh no, of course I'm in a relationship with a healthy person. I would never be in a relationship with somebody unhealthy. Here's where it can get a little tricky because unhealthy people can mimic and pretend to be healthy. And so before going into the characteristics that every healthy person and a healthy relationship has, let's just highlight for a second what it's like to be in a relationship with somebody healthy. Because there's a general tone of what it feels like to be in a relationship with somebody healthy and unhealthy. But let's start with the healthy side. So if you are in a relationship with somebody healthy, you have a general knowing of what to expect from this person every single day. There's also a natural reciprocity. If you need something, they can give it. And if they need something, you can give it, because it's worth saying that in order to have a healthy relationship, both people in the relationship need to be healthy. One person cannot be healthy enough for two people. There's also this sense of calmness in the relationship. There's not a lot of miscommunication and you kind of always know where they are and you guys are always very close to being on the same page. So it's not a lot of friction. Like you both get to be yourselves and when somebody needs support, the other can step up. But not only do you both help each other just enjoy the relationship, you are both thriving individuals as well. You also know that if you need to come to them for anything, they're not going to judge you. They're not going to make fun of you. More than likely, they're going to comfort you and they are going to help regulate you back to a good place. Now, in talking about the tone of what it's like to be in an unhealthy relationship, that just feels like a lot of anxiety. There's just a lot of anxiety constantly. There is a lot of exhaustion as well. There is like no amount of rest that you can get that actually heals you and brings you back to a good place. There's generally a lot of miscommunication, even over the smallest things. There's also really no clear growth or direction of where the relationship is going. It's kind of just like the relationship is the same always. And if there are opportunities, for closeness or for growth, it is very, very difficult to enact. It's almost like you're pushing against something that's pushing down. And that becomes very confusing because why wouldn't you want to have a great relationship with the person you're in a relationship with? The other sign is that over time, when you look at your relationship, it just becomes harder and harder and heavier and heavier. And there's really no end in sight as to when some of this heaviness will lift. And the only way that you cope with that is by putting future markers into your future. So saying to yourself or thinking, okay, when this future event happens, I can be less stressful. You're very good at blaming all of these external circumstances that are going on around you that are creating stress and anxiety. But the truth is, if you are also in a relationship with a healthy partner, a lot of that would go away because they would help figure out systems for you. They would help bring you to a good place. Unhealthy people make you feel alone in the relationship and that you have to figure everything out for yourself. It really is like every man for themselves, except for when it comes to them. All of your emotions are too much. All of your needs are too much. But when they have something that needs to be highlighted or brought to your attention, you better drop every single thing that you're doing and give them exactly what they need in that moment. Another way to tell that you are in a relationship with somebody unhealthy is that it just feels like the only reason why you have connection is because of you. If you stopped bringing you and your, connection to the relationship, it's like they would be completely fine without having it. And it's not that they are okay and very self-sufficient and are able to have a relationship where there's not a constant connection to the other person. It's that they don't want it. They don't want to tend to you. They don't want to have to prioritize you or even think about you because they are just in the relationship more than likely for what they can get from you. That's a very sad but unfortunate truth about a lot of unhealthy relationships. When you are in a relationship with somebody unhealthy, it's like you have to give everything and more to try to keep everything going the same, but it just becomes heavier and heavier over time because you are getting less and less from them. So you are having to carry the relationship more and more and more. And although both the healthy and unhealthy side It has more to it than that. That's kind of the general tone. So let's get into the first non-negotiable for a healthy relationship. And that is the ability to handle conflict and repair. Now, you've probably heard about conflict and repair, but it's about understanding the nuance of what makes it healthy versus unhealthy. Because like I said, and I'm going to say it again, and I might even say it one more time in this video, but unhealthy people can pretend and mimic that they have healthy behaviors. So when it comes to conflict and repair, I like to think of them as two separate events. Now, generally what happens in the conflict between both the hurt party and the person that they're in a relationship with is that it can look like this. The hurt party goes to the person that they're in a relationship with and tells them that they are hurt. The other person listens. They genuinely want to understand how they contributed to the hurt. There's a genuine apology and agreed upon new behaviors to minimize or get rid of not just the hurt in the moment, but this same hurt coming up again in the future. Let's say you are dealing with somebody who is genuinely unhealthy. They can mimic the behaviors of what's required at conflict, because for the most part, at conflict, they just need to sit there and say, okay, what was it that hurt you? Oh, okay, I'm sorry it made you feel that way. Oh, okay, well, what do you need from me? Oh, okay, yeah, I'll work on that. And if you detected a little bit of sarcasm in my voice, that's because unhealthy people kind of come off that way. And this is what starts the confusion, is because if you were to sit there and tell somebody, well, they listened to me, they told me they would work on it, I guess I got an apology. There's no genuine intention behind actually fixing it. Now, for contrast, at the conflict stage with somebody who is healthy, they will say similar things like, okay, what is it, that hurt you? Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know that is what was causing you pain. What is it that I can do so that this doesn't, happen again? But their intention and their energy behind the words that they are saying is that they want to create resolve. They want to create healing. They want to make sure that you don't feel that way again. And now that they know there's something that they're doing that is hurting you, they want to make sure that they don't do that again. What will separate a healthy person and an unhealthy person is when you get to the repair stage, because repair requires action. It requires responsibility. It requires self-starting, and it requires a selflessness for the person who needs to do that behavior to do it while this other person is still hurt, right? Like, they don't need the hurt party coming to them and being like, okay, I'm all cured. You did it once. Thank you. No, this could be a behavior that you need to do for a while in order for the other person to feel safe again, in order to feel regulated, in order to trust that they know you are somebody who's actually trying to heal that wound in the relationship. Unhealthy people, when they are in the repair stage, may do it once, may do it twice, but there's no consistency and they really take their sweet time. And what that ends up doing to the hurt party in this scenario is that it puts them in a deeper state of anxiety, because they are now on alert to see, okay, well, they did the behavior. Are they going to do it again? Am I giving them enough space to do it? Like, what am I doing wrong that's keeping them from stepping up? All of these self-blaming thoughts were the things that were running through my head, instead of being able to take a step back and go back to a baseline of, is this healthy or not? Which is, a healthy person is going to try to heal what they did. An unhealthy person is going to try to make you absorb all of the blame. Now, moving on to the next non-negotiable characteristics, it is that they have the ability to regulate themselves without taking it out on you. So the best way that I know how to talk about somebody's ability to regulate themselves and whether it's healthy or not is through an example. Now, I'll give you one that I dealt with. So essentially, over time in the relationship, I noticed that this person didn't just like playing video games, they had to play video games. And they played video games every single day, every single waking moment. It was either they were at work or had to do something for themselves or playing video games. First, I didn't really think too much of this. I just thought, they have a hobby. It's something that they really enjoy doing. But over time, I started to see that, they don't even want to get dinner with me. They don't even want to hang out with me. They are completely engrossed in video games. Nothing else exists. And so I started asking for date nights. I started asking for, like a lunch on the weekends together, or just to even run a couple errands together so I could feel like there was connection in the relationship again. Now, it got to the point that I got very hurt, and I went to them and I finally said, hey, I know you like playing video games, but I really want to feel like I'm in a relationship with somebody and that there's connection. So can we plan a date night or a date together or something that used to come so easy to us at the beginning of the relationship? Can we do that? Like, that would make me really happy. And this person essentially said, oh, okay, well, I really love playing video games and I've had a hard day at work and I need to decompress. And then they said, can I just have some time to process this so we can talk later? And I said, yeah, sure, whatever you need, that sounds fine. So what went wrong here? Because at first glance, it could look like there might even be some health in this interaction, but let's take a little bit of a closer look. So the hurt party does not get validated with their hurt, barely gets an apology, if they even get an apology. And then the tone of the conversation shifts to the other person being the victim, right? Like, work is really hard. They need to decompress. They then use words that are supposed to be healthy and words of somebody who's self-aware, like they need time to process. But now there's this big gray area, which is, when is there supposed to be time to figure out a behavior or new behaviors so that this doesn't happen again, or that we can minimize this? And more than likely, if you're the hurt party, you now have another thing on your plate, which is to monitor when they might feel better so that you can bring it up again. Because if you do not bring it up, it will not get addressed, and you know that. And this is what unhealthy people really like. They like no resolve, they like no responsibility, or no outline of responsibility that they're supposed to step up into. And they do this all under the guise of, I need space to process, I need time to process, I need to decompress, I'm really stressed, right? Like, all of these things that sound really reasonable, but what they're doing is just building more and more reason for them to not give. Now let's talk about what it would be like if you were going to a healthy person. If you went to a healthy person and said, hey, I noticed you are playing video games every single night and I'm feeling not very connected to you. Do you think we can have time soon so that we can feel reconnected? If you are with a healthy person, they will probably stop playing video games in that second. They will probably have like a come to Jesus moment and be like, oh my God, you're right. I have been so stressed at work. I haven't even realized. I let that eat at our connection. I didn't do anything to try to maintain that. And I am just realizing that I'm playing video games so I can just feel good enough so that I can go back into work the next day. You know what? We did make some changes at work and apparently they're not affecting me well, so I need to take care of this. This is what a healthy person does. And if you are not used to this, you are probably sitting there like, oh my God, they're taking on way too much. No, this is what responsibility looks like. This is what natural reciprocity looks like. This is what being with somebody who is consistent does and just is at their core, because you are not asking for anything unreasonable. You are asking for a bare minimum in the relationship, like connection, to be able to be reestablished and maintained, because it's hurting you that you don't have this. Now you'll even notice that this healthy person didn't say, hey, I really need time, to process what you were saying. It's because they have relationship capacity. They are at a place where they are actually able to give to you. Sometimes you can just be in a relationship with somebody who just does not have capacity for a relationship, and that is damaging. Now, I can't give you every single example with every single nuance. I'm just trying to set up a contrast so that you can see the general tone of what it feels and looks like being in a relationship with somebody healthy versus somebody unhealthy. So by now you should have enough information to be able to start to put your relationship into one category. Is this more healthy or is this more unhealthy? But it's not just the relationship itself. It's being able to look past these external behaviors and to see someone at their core for who they are. Because I don't know about you, but I only want to be in a relationship with somebody healthy. So if you are somebody who is still struggling to answer that question, I would suggest watching this video next. It is going to go into the nuances of what it's like to be in a relationship who is just there for the one-sided dynamics for their benefit. And at its core, this is also a very unhealthy relationship. So thanks for watching this video. And if I don't see you there, I'll see you in the next one.